Today, I substitute taught a class in a middle school, and the lesson plan involved watching a video on the 80s and 90s. Well, we got as far as the 80s due to time constraints. And at the end of the video, I had the students write a response comparing today to the 1980s as far as technology and medical advances, thoughts on communism, so on and so forth. Comparing, contrasting, writing their thoughts and feelings, responses, whatever. And during my last class, I sat and read some of the responses. They were interesting, to say the least. And I thought I would take this time to share some of the statements that I read. Some of them are kind of funny in that they were also not just sounding awkward, but were also spelled really wrong, which won't come across real well on video, but that's okay. So without further delay, here are responses to the 1980s. New technology was being developed. Diseases were spreading, gay people came about, and drugs became more common. I didn't realize that gay people came about in the 1980s. Apparently these kids know something that I didn't. Rock and roll came to be in the 1980s. Okay, once again, didn't realize that rock and roll was invented in the 1980s. Pretty sure it came about before that. What else? People used to have a wall because they wanted to divide the Democrats and Republicans. This is referring to the Berlin Wall. I don't have any comments about that one. Back then, there wasn't any technology, and now there is. Oh, I can't read my own writing. There we go. Back then, there wasn't any technology, and now there is internet, computers, and other things. So apparently there was no technology before 1980. In the 80s, suburban life began to take over, but suburban life led to crack abuse. What do you say to that? Apparently people in the suburbs are the reason that we have crack abuse. Also, something else that I didn't know. Yes. Oh, this one, they had literally just listed a bunch of stuff. We're actually writing sentences. A lot of things made sense. It was out of order, but then it got to terrorists, Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, 9/11, New York got blown up, anthrax in the mail. Yeah, it mentioned terrorists with the TWA hijacking, and it mentioned Saddam Hussein later in the section that we started about the 90s. That was background noise when they were writing their paragraph. Video didn't mention 9/11, didn't mention Osama bin Laden, because it was pretty sure the video was made before that all happened. Apparently Gorbachev was a Russian leader. I think they meant Gorbachev, but this was spelled B-A-R-B-A-T-R-O-V. Gorbachev. What else? Drugs started, and now there are still drugs, but people make sure they're not being passed around. Pretty sure people today are still dealing drugs. I think that our economy came a long way in 29 years. There was success like MTV and items such as computers. Big developments in the last 29 years. Computers and MTV. Yeah. Because the economy had something to do with MTV. Right. And the last one. The ghettos drove nice Mercedes cars and had lots of diamonds. Once again, not a whole lot to say, but I would like to spell Mercedes. MERCEDICE'. Mercedes. So this is why I want to get into, well, I guess I'm in education, but this is why I want a full-time teaching job. Kids don't pay attention. They don't try and learn. I had my last class, they literally turned in 4 papers. Out of 15 students, 4 kids decided they were going to pay attention to the video and write anything down and turn anything in. So, yeah. That plus those statements gives you an idea of what the world is coming to. These kids are our future. Now that is kind of scary.